I'm going to be talking mighty fast on this one. We have only 3 examples to get through, and every single one of these is a thinking question. And you are going to be using solvent equations with variables on both sides somehow to get these answers for these multiple step questions that we have to go through. There's going to be a lot. I'm going to try to make it as quick as I can, so let's get busy. Number 10, the legs of a right triangle have the same length. What is the area of a triangle? So first of all, our question, area of a triangle is what? Well, let's remind ourselves, area of a triangle is equal to base times height divided by 2. Some of you know it as 1/2 base height. Base and height have a special relationship. The base and the height of any triangle has to be perpendicular. Okay, that means they have to intersect at right angles. So what we need to do is we have to multiply 3x times 2.5 minus 2x. Well, that's going to give us some crazy funky answer, and it's not going to tell us the answer. We've got to find the value of x first. So we're going back to what it said first. The legs have the same length. If they have the same length, then they're equal to each other. So 3x has to equal 2.5 minus 2x. Has to. Absolutely has to. So we're going to be smart, and we're going to take this negative 2x, and we're going to move it over and combine it on the left side to put our variables together on the left, since there's no constants over there. So when I add 2x to both sides, I get 5x is now equal to, and you know what? I hate working with mixed numbers. I'm going to make it improper. 2 times 2 plus 1 is 5/2. Now I'm going to divide by 5 to isolate and solve for x, keep the equation balanced by doing it to both sides. So now we have x equals 5/2 times 1/5. The 5's go out, leaving us with 1/2. So x equals 1/2. That's not even close. This is the first thing we did. That's not even close to the answer to this question. All that gives us is the value of x. So the second thing we have to do is we have to take this 1/2 and we have to put it in here and find what is the length of these sides. So for number 2, we're going to take 3 times 1/2 and get 3/2. Some people might want to go 1.5, whatever. And then we're going to take 2 1/2 and we're going to take 2 1/2. We're going to subtract. We're going to subtract the 2 times 1/2. So 2 1/2 minus 2 times 1/2. Well, 2 times 1/2 is 1. 2.5 minus 1, that is 1.5, or 3/2 still. 1/2 and 1/2. So now we've got that. We know that the side length is 3/2, whatever units they are, or 1.5 units. So now we can put that as number 3. We can put that into the original formula. And I like using the top one. So I'm going to go 3/2 times 3/2 and divide the whole thing by 2. Okay, so this is my base. This is my height. That gives me 9/4 divided by 2. Dividing by 2 is the same as multiplying by its reciprocal. So 9/4 times 1/2, that will give me 9/8. We're multiplying across the top. 9/8 simplifies to 1 1/8. So that is our area. Our area is 1 1/8. They don't give us units, so I'm just going to write units and square them because it's area. A lot going on. Those were the steps. We had to do 3 different things to get to our final answer. If you need to, pause and then write down. Moving right along, the value of the solid surface area is equal to the value of the solid's volume. Find the value of x. Let's take a look at this solid. What do we have here? Yeah, we have a box. It's called a rectangular prism. And the first thing we know we have to do is we have to find the value of x. What does x equal? All right. They gave us some information. They said surface area is equal to volume. Surface area equals volume. All right, so you might want to write these down after I'm done explaining them to you because we got to go fast. Surface area is equal to 2 times area of the base plus the perimeter and the height. You can do that whole thing you learned in elementary, but it's going to be a lot longer and a lot harder. Where B is equal to area of base. Okay, capital B is area of the base. P is the perimeter of base. And H is the height between bases. Let's talk about that for a second. Area of the base, that means you're finding the area. We usually consider the base to be the shape that it sits on. That's the base. And the shape of that is a rectangle. And every box that is a rectangular prism has an equally congruent opposite base at the top, or side to side, or front to back. Okay? So x would be the height, the distance between the top and the bottom of that box. Now let's go to volume. Volume is equal to area of the base times the height. Well, we already know what area of the base is, and we already know what height is. So we're going to put those together. It says they're equal. So surface area equals volume. In other words, 2 times area of the base plus the perimeter and the height is equal to the area of the base times the height. All right. We're going to have to substitute in a little bit on this one because h is not here, and we have numbers to put in. So let's go do that right now. We're going to go 2 times the area of the base. What is the base? That's right. It's right here. This is the base. How do we get the area of that shape? 10 times 3 because it's a rectangle. Plus the perimeter. What is the perimeter of that rectangular base? 10 plus 3 plus 10 plus 3. So that's 26. And what is the height? The height is given to us x. So here's 2 times area of the base plus the perimeter height for the surface area. Now we're going to do the volume. Well, we already know area of the base, 10 times 3. And we already know the height, x. Done. Now let's simplify. 10 times 3 is 30. 2 times 30 is 60. Plus 26x. Again, 10 times 3 is 30, and 30 times x is 30x. Now we have an equation with a variable on both sides. It makes sense to move that variable term to the right side. So I'm going to do the opposite and subtract 26x. And I get 60 equals 4x. Dividing by 4, x equals 15. They give us units, inches. So the height, the distance here is 15 inches. Voila. Bingo. You might want to write this stuff down because you're probably going to have to use that same thing to answer a question or two on your practice assignment tonight. Otherwise, come into class with a question. We'll do another one. Our last one says a boat travels 3 hours downstream at a rate of r miles per hour. On the return trip, the boat travels 5 miles per hour slower and takes 4 hours. What is the distance the boat travels? Distance. We don't know. Do you know the formula for distance? Distance is always equal to the rate, that's how fast you're going, times the time. How long you go that fast. Well, they gave us those two. They gave us the time, 3 hours one way, 4 hours the other way, and they gave us the rate, r miles per hour one way and r minus 5 the other way. So we know that if we start here and we take a trip, and it takes us 3 hours at r miles an hour, we're going to get here. And then we turn right around and we go back. But this time it takes 4 hours, and what's our new speed? That's right, whatever we were traveling before, but it's 5 miles an hour slower. Well, what do we know about these two distances? The distances are the same. The trip to get there and get back is the same distance. So we can write this equation with a variable on both sides. 3r is equal to 4 times r minus 5. Wow, now we can solve. 3r is equal to, using the distributive property, 4r. 4 times 5 is negative 20. And so, oops, I don't need that. So now we have this equation with the variable on both sides that we can still solve. I don't know why that wouldn't erase. And I'm going to subtract this 4r. You're probably thinking I'm crazy. I like to keep mine positive, but I have a negative r and a negative 20. If I want to get rid of this negative r, I divide by a negative 1. Both sides, r equals 20. Now that's not the answer. That's r. R is how fast we went. So on this trip, 3 times r, or 3 times 20, that gives us 60 miles. Let's see if it works going back the other way if we put it into the second one. So 4 times 20 minus 5. That's 4 times 15. That equals 60 miles. So how far did we travel? 60 miles. Outstanding. More ways we have to think, people, and I know you can all do it. I know you can do it. We're done. I gave you a problem. I gave you some stuff. You're going to have to pause and write it down, or as you're writing it, please make sure you come to class with questions on this one. I know you will. All right, begin working on your assignment with what little time you have left. Again, don't work more than 45 minutes. If you want to, stop tonight and get up in the morning. Come in early and work with me in class between 8 and 9. 45 minutes a night is all I ask. Be accountable. Use your time effectively with aggressiveness and urgency. You guys all rock. I can't believe I am blessed with the honor to work with you on a nightly basis. I will see you all tomorrow.